Hey, kia ora family. Now I know what you're thinking, what is Tekken 2 doing on the screen right now? Well, I just wanted an excuse to show off this game before I get into talking about the Tekken 8 closed network test. Specifically, what I think of the game so far and how my overall experience went. But I just wanted an excuse to show off Tekken 2 because I literally just downloaded this game last night for free. Normally, you would have to get the PlayStation Plus Deluxe upgrade to get this game, but I saw it on the network just for free as I was poking around and having fun, as well as redeeming a code for another game that I'll get into at the end of this video, so stick around for that. But before I get into talking about the Tekken 8 CNT, I would like to first start out by giving thanks, my praise, and a shout out to this awesome gent right here. This, good buddies, is my friend Luda. He is the whole reason I was able to play the CNT in the first bloody place. I did sign up for a code, but at the time I received it, it was too late to actually bloody use it. So, a few days in advance, building up to the beta, this bro here was just like, yo, my bro, I got a code for you. Here you go. And just like that, I was in there. He had the opportunity to play the beta for himself and experience Tekken for the first time. But instead, he was like, you take it. You know more about Tekken than I do, so you rock out with it. So for that, I cannot help but be too overly bloody thankful for that, so seriously, this whole impressions that I'm gonna give on the game would not be possible without you, my man. So massive shout out to you, and to all of you watching this video, do yourself a favor and do me a favor as well. Well, actually no, this is not a favor, this is a command. Go and subscribe to this man right now. Right now. Right now. Pause the video or just click off the video, and I don't even care if you don't come back, just stop what you're doing. Go subscribe to this man right now. You done? You good? Okay, let's talk about the game. Round 1. Fight. Now, there are two impressions this game gives off when you boot it up. The first impression is that of a new Tekken player who's experiencing Tekken for the first time, and they go, wow, so this is what Tekken is like. But if you're like me and you've been playing Tekken for a while, and you immediately played this just after finishing playing Tekken 7, your first thought is, huh, this game actually has a tutorial. Neat. What's also neat is that a lot of the complaints that players have had with this CNT are already being addressed as we speak. Some characters having not as strong backdashes, that's already getting addressed. Moves not doing what they should, already getting addressed. Certain other bugs and glitches and whatnot, all that jargon is being addressed. Now, they did specifically state that with this CNT, it was purely to address the online. So they wanted us to experience this for the first time because this game's going to have actual proper rollback netcode and crossplay. So the first weekend CNT, that was honestly not the best weekend for me. I mean, I still had fun with the game, but I was playing on Wi-Fi. But then, in the second CNT, I was able to play wired because I played using my Ethernet cable in my current location right now, which was a significantly better experience. And overall, as predicted, playing this game with a cable is going to be the way to go. So if you've got an internet cable, use it. And if you don't have one, get one. And now with that disclaimer out of the way, let's talk about what carried over from Tekken 7 to Tekken 8. And the first thing that carried over, which I'm so happy with, is the quality of life changes that came to Tekken 7 in its later seasons. As you can see on screen, with this tutorial, they kept the punishment practice in there in order for you to properly learn and get the ropes on how to block certain attacks and what's the appropriate punish for it. So punishment, practice, and all of those which came free in Tekken 7 are still there, which is good. Another thing that's also good is the general movement. They did say that overall movement was not touched that much in this game, so it's relatively similar to Tekken 7. The only thing that is different is your overall approach to the game and the movement itself. More on that later. And while not major, but still very appreciated, slow-mos and rage arts also make their way over from Tekken 7. Oh yes, and power crushes now have much better use in this game than in Tekken 7. So that's also pretty good. And as far as things that are similar, that's where it pretty much ends. The overall feel of the game is dramatically different. So now, let's talk about the things that are new with the game. Starting off with the obvious one, the heat system. Now, there are several different ways you can use the heat system in this game. The first one is just your standard heat activation. So this is done by pressing R1 or whatever you have the heat buttons mapped to on your controller. For me, the heat button was mapped to L1. So pushing the button by itself, the character will automatically do a heat bound, which you can do just out in the open or in the middle of a combo. However, if you do it out in the open, which I did quite a bit, double tapping back will cancel the ground spike and the character will just pose to show that you have now activated heat. Because this is the easy go-to method for your heat shenanigans, this will cost 1/3 of your heat timer. If you don't want to lose heat timer upon activation, then the other way you can go into heat is to use a heat engager. With certain moves, characters can go immediately into heat with a full bar of meter. The drawback is, it forces a 50-50 situation where neither character is plus, you're both neutral, and you need to guess where you're gonna go. Do you run in for an attack? Do you immediately follow up? What do you do? That's where the mind game comes in, using your heat engager. Continuing from that is your heat dash. This is good for extending combos or to just keep up the block pressure if your opponent keeps blocking and you want to be plus on block to try and keep on mixing them up with all your shenanigans. So the heat dash is another very useful thing that was added to the game. And then, continuing from that, if you just want to go all out and use all of that heat meter, then you go for the heat smash. Heat Smash basically replaces the Rage Drive from Tekken 7, where characters have a cool fancy flourish and they can use up all their resources in order to go for that high damaging move. And the best part is, it is not tied to your rage, so you can do a Heat Smash and a Rage Art in the same combo if the situation is appropriate for it. And by that I mean, go for a Heat Smash if you know it will kill, because the damage scaling is quite immense. Now with Jack 8, his Heat Smash is, in my opinion, the highest damaging in the game. So I was able to do his in a combo and get the KO quite a few times. Generally, however, you'll want to stay in heat as long as possible, which is possible by staying aggressive, which is a given because that's literally the entire approach to this game. Being aggressive, going forward and just attacking and keeping up that pressure on the opponent. As long as you're constantly doing something, your heat will stay active. But if you're idling and being neutral for too long, or if you're just carelessly using your heat stuff, then your meter's gonna be drained quite fast. A lot of players caught me out carelessly throwing out all my heat stuff in this stress test, so quite a few times I was trying to do moves that used up my heat gauge, and while the moves did use up the heat gauge despite not coming out, that was me getting punished by an opponent's well-timed counter hit, which stopped me from using my heat shenanigans, and it forced me to play the game the way it was meant to be, rather than just turning off my brain. And don't try punish Rage Art with it, bad idea. Now for the presentation. If you watch the Tekken trailers religiously like I did, you would have noticed that certain details from those trailers were missing in this beta test. Say for example, Brian Fury's skin turning red when he does certain charge moves while his heat is active. That said, The presentation that we got in this beta test is absolutely gorgeous. While certain details on the characters were missing, the one that was present for the most part, especially for the characters that have good muscle definition, was the real-time muscle contraction. Now this I talked about quite a bit in Street Fighter 6, where it's not just in cutscenes or intros that you see the character's muscles actually showing some definition and contraction. This actually happens during the actual gameplay as you're playing, and I love that detail. It just adds so much layers to the characters, and especially when King does his body armor, it just looks that much more vicious. So there are no complaints from me in the game's graphics department because 1, this is still the early alpha build, and 2, it's only gonna get better from here. And the fact this game already looks as good as it does, whew, just imagine what the full release is gonna be like. I'm very much looking forward to that. Now, for the actual experience that I had online. Well, for the most part, I had a really damn good time. Matches were responsive and loaded up fast. Now, there were several instances where the game just couldn't handle what was going on, and I ended up getting booted out of the game and I had to restart it. Now, as far as the crossplay goes, which is the one thing I was looking forward to testing the most, by the way, very disappointed that a lot of people in Oceania are playing on Wi-Fi. Get your shit together. Get a damn internet cable. It is so much better if you do. Trust me. Now, the game was able to handle connections between PC quite well, although it did handle going from PS5 to PS5 a lot better, because that was the first thing it was built for. But it handled pretty well going up against PC players. And now, I also did play a few Xbox players as well, but Xbox players were only using Wi-Fi, so I only fought 2 of them in my whole experience. Majority of the players were on PlayStation, obviously, and interestingly, the first week when I was using Wi-Fi, the majority of players were using wired. They actually had an internet cable. But the second test, where I actually got my internet cable, about 65% were using wireless. So there were even some PC players that did not have an internet cable. Ain't that some bullshit? Thank frickin' goodness there's a Wi-Fi indicator, because if I see a player that's using that, I'll just be like, nope. And speaking of connections, connecting between Asia, more specifically Korea and Japan, those connections were really frickin' solid. This game definitely has much stronger, more stable internet than Tekken 7 right now. And again, this is only an alpha build, so a lot of the details that were left out that I mentioned earlier were of course to benefit the online, which, as I said, was already getting addressed by the developers. Things like being able to adjust the special effects on the characters and the environment, that will help the experience, similar to how Street Fighter V on PS5 and Series X and PC has the option to reduce background elements like the crowd and all that stuff to make playing the game online much smoother. Connections with North America and Europe were also really solid. I fought a Nina Williams player in Europe, and despite the fact it only said it was a 1-bar connection, because we were both wired, and because the game has pretty damn good netcode, despite a bit of jittering in the actual match, it still played like normal. So this still felt a lot better than fighting someone in my own damn country who was using Wi-Fi. Yeah, if you can't tell, I fucking hate Wi-Fi. Though surprisingly, Wi-Fi against Xbox players wasn't all that bad. It was really just the Wi-Fi with PlayStation players and even certain PC players, but Xbox, they seem to be okay for the most part. But overall, playing with an internet cable is the far superior option. This game is just gonna feel so much better if you do that. And not just this game, all fighting games in general. So, my overall impressions with this beta, very positive. Very, very positive. And honestly, I just want to play it again. Now, I don't know if they're going to do another beta, but I really hope they do. That's all I can say. I really hope they do. The graphics looked amazing. The overall feel of the game was amazing. The new mechanics were amazing. The combos were amazing. The details on the characters was amazing. The character select theme is still stuck in my head. It's one of my favorite tracks. Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna say it. It's my favorite track in the whole game. Now, for a lot of people, it's Sanctuary or even the Urban Square. But that's the one that I enjoyed the most. I can literally just have it on the character select screen and just leave it there and enjoy it. And speaking of which, this beta was actually really damn packed with some features. You could actually train and practice with your characters. Like, you can just go into a training room where it stops trying to look for an opponent for you, so you don't have random lag spikes that end up interrupting your combo. So you can do that. There were actually combo trials to get a good feel for the characters. Oh man, and the fact that there were 16 characters in this beta, freaking 16. That was basically the starting roster for Street Fighter 6. Actually no, that was Street Fighter 5. Boy, that game really was bare bones. Well, anyway, that aside, I'm really looking forward to when this game comes out. So overall, my experience with this game, absolutely positive. So all the stuff that was negative is already getting addressed. The game is going to improve significantly in the future, because of course it is, it's not even out yet. Now, as for what I was talking about at the beginning with another game, much like how fortune favored me with this game, I also came across some other good fortune in the form of this. I've always been saying, there really ain't no skill like social skills. Seriously, make friends, not enemies, because those friends might rock up to you one day and go, "Hey bro, I got a beta code for you. Here, you give this game a try, let me know what you think." And hello, look at that. Now, I'm gonna be playing the Mortal Kombat 1 beta this weekend. So, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how this goes. So, in my next video, I'm gonna be giving you my impressions on the new realm that Liu Kang has created. So till then, I will catch you in the next one, and let me know what you thought of the Tekken 8 beta, what are you looking forward to in terms of other fighting games, and so on and so forth. So yep, until then, I will see you on the next one, whānau. Ka kite.